Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. We are the Monterey Bay Aquarium. We got something very special today, so I'm super excited for everyone to join us on this live stream. My name is Helen. I am one of the content creators here at the aquarium. And we've got two fun friends joining us today. We've got Christy. Christy joined us several months ago during Shrimp Week.
Yes.
Because they are an aquarist here at the aquarium, and we played a rousing game of mantis.
And you put me in a shrimp costume.
Oh, we did. I also think I put on a shrimp costume. So we've got Christy. I did do a little bit of an introduction, but we'll have Christy introduce herself properly in a minute. And then we also have Nicholas. So Nicholas is joining us today too, because we are doing something very cool. We are going to be talking all about nudibranchs. And we're also going to be painting these amazing models that Nicholas creates and has a business around. And so he's going to tell us all about how he got into this and his process, and we are going to paint as we chat. So
thank you for
welcome.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah, awesome. So Christy, kick us off. Just give us a little background on what you do here at the aquarium and especially how it pertains to nudibranchs.
Okay, yeah. So, hello, I'm Christy. I'm an aquarist here, and I work with the nudibranch exhibits. So I'm the person in charge of opening them up in the morning, feeding them, making sure the exhibit looks nice and clean for everyone, getting them ready for opening at 10 o'clock. And then some side projects usually involve trying to culture them and trying to make baby nudibranchs. So really into their life cycle in that way.
That's awesome. I'm excited to dive into that. Also, I have to say, you might have the coolest job at the. I mean, you get to take care of the mantis shrimp and nudibranchs. I mean, that's
yeah. I don't take care of the mantis shrimp anymore. We did a little bit of restructuring, but
but you have.
I have, and yes, mantis shrimp is very cool to hang out with.
Yeah. Well, we're all about nudibranchs today, so
yes.
Awesome. Nicholas, why don't you give us a little introduction to who you are and yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so I live here in Monterey, and I'm a student at Monterey Peninsula College at the 3D Arts program, and I love to be outdoors and dive, and at home mainly do a lot of miniatures. And when I got back into painting, one of my painting teachers was saying like, why don't you paint a bird? And I thought to myself like if there were bird models out there, I'd paint them. And I thought, oh shoot, all right, so someone's gonna have to make them. And I got into wanting to learn how to sculpt. This could have been through the same program. So I was like, what can I sculpt that's easy and something that doesn't require too much detail? I'm like, oh, a nudibranch. There's so many different shapes and types of them that I was like, okay, I can't go wrong. I've seen them squishy, I've seen them as a ball. Like, yeah, there's so many ways to express yourself when making a nudibranch. The reason why I got so into it also is because I wanted to bring a piece of the ocean back to people. I'm really into science communication and accessibility, and bringing a piece of the ocean back to like a really far scene like tabletop gaming was just really interesting to do. Mm-hmm. So like really bridging communities is super fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, I feel like we should back up and start with what is a nudibranch? Besides being one of the coolest animals out there. Who wants to jump on that one?
Sure. So a nudibranch is a mollusk, and it kind of comes from nudibranch, meaning naked, and branch meaning gills, so naked gills. And there are many different types out there. They're mollusks without shells, essentially, is what I'm saying. When they're first born, when they're first hatch out of their eggs, they do have shells, and they go through various life stages. And when they lose their shells, they settle out and are a miniature version of their adult counterparts, essentially. So, yeah.
So they're basically a sea slug. It's like
sea slugs is another name for it. Yes.
Yeah. So I think we're showing a few on screen here. They're just so beautiful and so different. I mean, I don't know, so colorful. So this one here on the screen is not one that we have at the aquarium. That pink one is called Hopkins Rose, and it is found locally here in Monterey. I don't know, You dive.
Absolutely.
Have you seen one?
Yeah, they're one of my favorite things to see tide pooling or diving.
Okay.
They're just like this bright pink koosh ball, and you just can't help but like, oh, there it is, there it is.
A koosh ball. That is a great descriptive. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They're so all those serrata or like the little tendrils sticking out you see are their serrata, and it's so funny. You'll be looking at the back of one the whole time. You're thinking, oh, is this the front of it?
Yeah.
This is the back.
Yeah.
Just because they're
Yeah.
covered in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because some of them have more distinct sort of like the
Front and back like this one that's on the
yeah,
screen.
yeah. But yeah, with the koosh ball, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, lion's mane, or known as Malib, is that right?
Melody.
Melody,
Yeah.
there you go.
Melody Leonida.
And this is one that you get to take care of?
Yes,
Wow.
the Melody exhibit.
That's so cool.
Is one of my favorite exhibits and animals to take care of. It is true, I don't know if you've heard, but they smell like fake watermelon, like synthetic, like Jolly Rancher watermelon when they get stressed out. And yeah, it happens every time I siphon the exhibit, and not saying that stressed out is they get mad,
Yeah.
like in a negative way. It's just I'm agitating the water around them, and they release something into the water to cause a smell, which is kind of interesting because you can't smell underwater. So there's not researchers are kind of curious as to why and what is being released.
Yeah.
But for us air breathers, smells like watermelon.
Amazing. This beautiful orange one is an opalescent nudibranch, which we also have here at the aquarium. Yeah.
Well, those ones are so gorgeous. I see them all the time when I'm at the wharf,
Okay.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
Just a sand pit or the tumbling kind of like pieces of kelp, and they're just there on the lake. The whole is this moving lake.
Yeah.
And I love how we have two kinds actually here in the bay. We have a horned nudibranch and an opalescence, and you can tell based on the color of their tips on all of them is serrata.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Very cool. Very cool. We've got one final one to look at here. So this is a type of Dord. So is Dord like a bigger group of nudibranchs? I feel like
Yeah, there's different groups in the nudibranch. So like the previous one, we had the A-lid that we're looking at, and then this one is the type of Dord, usually kind of circular.
They feel like more, just a little bit more rounded.
Less
of the serrata.
We have all sorts, and they're either really tiny or maybe you've seen them, the noble Dords, like the size of your hand.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't help but just do this.
I know.
every time. Every time.
Years ago, I had the experience of night diving and seeing, I think it's a Spanish dancer, and it was quite large, and they sort of like, it looks like a flying carpet, like it was like kind of moving through the water column.
Oh, it's so cool.
That was amazing. Not locally, that was somewhere else, but anyway, so yes, they come in different sizes.
Yeah. We actually have some giant ones here. Sea hares, they're actually here now. They're about California sea hare, and I think they're one of the largest nudibranchs ever, like recorded.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
They're pretty big. And the barber slug nudibranchs, the ones that eat the tube anemones, those get pretty big.
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you can tell we like to nerd out on on nudibranchs. They're very cool. So we're going to keep doing that, but why don't Nicholas, tell us a little bit about, so you're a diver, you're in this 3D arts program.
Yeah.
And you got the inspiration to sort of start making your own models.
Yeah.
Walk us through the process. I don't know if we can, you can see them there. This is just one of the ones that Nicholas has made.
Yeah, so this is a sandalwood Dord or a orange peel Dord. The common name kind of goes back and forth. And so I made the model so people can get like a better look at them. And because a good question is whenever I look at nudibranchs is, what do they look like underneath? I don't think I've ever picked one up before. So it's cool to have a model and just pick it up. But it helps with identification purposes. I may not get everything, as there's always new discoveries, but I do love showing off their iconic features, like their gill circlet on the back here. Kind of, if you zoom in, it looks like coniferous trees. And then their type of ears or rhinophores, and so each one, based on their group, have a different kind of shape or iconic feature to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you take what?
Photos.
Photos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, back. And so while we're diving or tide pooling, me and a couple others would go and take photos of them, and we would get photos of direct on top, kind of simulating as if we're looking at it all around. Then I would go back to a digital program and I would sculpt it using a collaboration between my photos and other experts in the field to be like, what do I want to show really on this model? And then we would print it using multiple methods. Since I'm making tiny models and there's even tinier details, I have to resort for now using a kind of a UV resin or UV soy resin So basically to harden it all and make it you can also use sunlight too. Yeah. And I use this process because of since a lot of my here in town, and so I'm able to neutralize. Is properly disposed. Yeah. Otherwise, I would actually look into other forms of printing as well. Yeah. But what's interesting about this program, printing, is that technology is getting better, and the community is so aware. So we're always going towards sustainability in printing.
Yeah. That's amazing. All right. Let's start painting, and then we can keep talking. So, Nicholas has kindly brought us all a model and a whole setup here. So talk us through what we've got.
Yeah. So the one I'm holding here is a California blue Doric, made out of soy resin as well. And what Christy has here is a clown Doric. And what you have is a sandalwood or the orange peel Doric.
And they've all got a little magnet in them. So we've got just little bottle tops here that we're going to use as our bases. Bonus, Nicholas also prints his own boxes for each shape, which are almost as adorable as the Nudibranchs.
Thanks. It's really cool to make these out of the soy, but they're certainly brittle, and so I have to create like these special cases for them to travel in, so that they can be safe while they're going. Because we have like these little small tentacles or the circlet can break off. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'm at the age where like I appreciate a nice box.
Oh yeah. Boutique almost. Yeah. I make these boxes at home, and actually, since boxes are kind of meant to be thrown away, I use a different material. This one is called PHA or polyhydroxyalkanate. It's a mouthful, right? But actually, just made out of sugar.
Oh,
and
so cool.
And this is actually compostable on a home level.
What?
Yeah. And the one you're holding is made out of cardstock, so it's recyclable. Yeah. So like at home, I synthesize a lot of different materials for 3D printing.
You do this at home. You take cardboard and make it in.
No, it's like a polylactic acid mixed in with some wood or fibrous materials to like make a paper material. That's what it feels like, cardstock.
That's cool.
So cool.
My mind is blown.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna make my own boxes. Let's do it. Let's become the manufacturer.
Amazing. All right. Okay. So we each got our little mixing plate. tell us about the type of paints that we've got going on here.
Yeah, I love using acrylic paints. You can use any. I prefer to use these dropper bottles because there's so many different colors that I spend more time painting than mixing. I'm also still learning how to mix colors myself. But acrylic paints are non-toxic and washable, so if you make a mess, it's just easier to clean off. And they work really well on miniatures. And so a lot of my other tools are also something you get in any tools you get in any store. They're just normal acrylic brushes. I have a tub with a paper towel and parchment paper. So these tools are essential for acrylic painting, but they're also just household items, so anyone can do it. Yeah. And so let's start with wetting our palette here. Yeah, so you're going to take your jar of water, pour it into your palette, switch it around. And the idea behind this is it's going to wet the paper towel behind it, and that way your paints don't dry out. So you can leave, walk away, paint slow, pour the water back, and you have a wet palette. So these paints, since they're high pigment, you only need a drop. So since I'm painting a California Dorada here, I think I'm just going to grab a blue. Just going blue. And I'll show you how much paint I'm using. Absolutely. Yeah, so here's my wet palette. Here's my dropper bottle. And that's it. That'll last me my whole session. Let me try a different color, that way people can see it. Here's a yellow that I know I will need. That's all I need.
Yeah. Warriors colors. Excellent.
Yeah, and so let's see, since you have the sandalwood door, let's get you going on this brush and this one. And then you have a pound door, same thing. You have a rounder brush for pushing paint around.
Yep.
And a small one for the details. I have smaller ones if needed too.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, and I'll walk us through why we only need 2 brushes. It's really easy. Yeah, you don't need to.
Christy, are you a crafty person? Like, is this up your alley here, or?
I am crafty. I
Nice.
like to craft.
You like to
I
craft?
don't say I do it very often.
Gotcha.
But I do like to craft. Yeah.
Excellent.
Do you like grips on the paintbrush?
Oh, fancy. Okay. Shoot. I'm gonna go with both hands.
Yeah, so I like to do these like painting parties around California and offer all sorts of tools for like painting parties because I know people may paint differently or have different approaches. So I offer like so many tools for them.
So not only has Nicholas created all these amazing things and created these processes, but he also has a business around it, and that's actually how we met.
Yeah.
Was, we had a team party last year, and we had Nicholas come with his business Reef Renders, and he provided this painting experience for our whole team, which was awesome.
Yeah,
It was
Reef
really,
Render.
really fun. So
Yeah.
how did you like get inspired to like do that part of it?
Yeah.
Like, turn it into these like events and things.
Science communication, and I wanted to like before all this I was really into alternative learning, so it's like wanted to do nonverbal learning or different ways I can get people to view interpretation. And what better way to interpret something than just to hold it,
Yeah.
to hold it and see it in your own way. And so I wanted to make models, bring it to people, and I feel like if I did painting parties, it was a casual way to introduce some pretty serious topics or some pretty in-depth topics to inspire curiosity in people. Yeah, and so what started at like a pizza joint and then a zero waste store, which was awesome, and then now locally at our breweries and museums all over California, it's been pretty crazy. I actually got to do one on Catalina, which was really neat. Yeah,
Nice.
and the people that were there weren't divers; they were just happy to paint, and people who live there were excited about just learning about stuff. I thought that was really neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Christy, what colors are you gonna have?
Oh, I'm gonna do the white and the orange.
Okay. So actually, there is one specific white I brought for you. It's in the other bucket. But
Goldfish, could you slide? Oh no, it's here.
actually, no, it's over there. Oh, I'm sorry.
This? No, I think I got it. I think I got it. Is it in there?
Off-white.
Off-white.
Specific.
Not on white.
On white. Off-white for that one, and then I have different oranges here and yellows for the pumps.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I bring up a picture? Am I allowed to look at them?
Yeah, absolutely. You can pay however you like.
Honestly.
Yeah, use your. So I made these phone stands for people to also use for like reference photos too. That way you
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
So you can look up.
I took mine away somewhere.
Okay.
I'll get.
Let me pull up a sandalwood board for you.
You don't have to be accurate, right?
Oh yeah, you can paint however you like. Yeah. So what colors would you like?
Oh, well, let's see. I'm gonna go like bright pink.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's my favorite one.
Ooh, I do like that one. Thank you. Man, what would go with bright pink? Maybe like silver?
Yeah, I do. I got you on that too.
Amazing. So just a couple drops.
Yeah. First of the ones. Yeah, these will do it.
So then,
And then the first stroke is always the most nerve-wracking, right? You don't want to apply too much. And so what's nice about these paints too, and the reason we have a wet palette, is because we can actually easily spread this paint around.
FYI, y'all are being called cheaters because you're not using the from memory like the colors of actual.
Oh no!
that's why I just went. I'm gonna go. Not accurate. Okay, now you had a tip on like
Yeah, there's
the
actually
getting into this guy versus the.
Yeah, there's two types of brush strokes
right.
that you can do. If
Do you
there's
wanna
one,
try?
absolutely. There's one called stippling, and so you don't have to brush the way that you usually do.
Yeah.
You can actually just
Kind of. Okay.
like kind of poke at it,
Yeah.
and that's gonna get all the paint at the bottom levels.
Okay.
And then later, when you want to add your second color, you can lightly brush, and it's gonna actually create a second color
Okay.
without washing over your previous ones.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so what you can do is take a little bit of that pink paint
Yeah.
and just keep
And just kind of.
stippling across the.
I want
across
that on the
nudibranch.
base.
Yeah, and then don't grab any more paint until you can't spread the paint anymore.
Okay. Is that too watery?
No, not at all. Keep going. Not at all.
Okay. Christy.
Yes.
Can you talk and paint?
We will see.
Tell us some more about like taking care of the nudibranchs here. What do we feed them? What does taking care of them look like?
So, it depends on the species. Nudibranchs eat many different types of things. Some of them are carnivorous, some of them eat sponges, bryozoans, hydroids, things like that. So, in the nudibranch exhibit, which is upstairs by the penguins, I provide those animals. I usually have the San Diego Dorids, a lemon nudibranch. I think there's a clown nudibranch on exhibit right now. And I provide sponges and hydroids, and not really bryozoans, but mostly sponges and hydroids for them to eat. And those I collect myself. We go out into the bay and we collect some sponges and bring them in and put them on exhibit. So they've always got fresh food source, doesn't sit for very long. They are voracious. They eat so much.
Oh, no idea.
And then the mellibees they eat plankton. So the mellibees, they're also known as the hooded nudibranch. So or the lion's mane nudibranch. They have that oral hood that will catch any prey in the water, and then they will. There's like I don't know the biological terms for it, but they close their hood, and there are two. They look like lips that come out and scrape the inside of the hood, and then ingest all of the food. And it's cool because I generally feed them Nauplii, 24-hour Artemia nauplii, which is brine shrimp or sea monkeys, but they're babies, and they're bright orange. And the mellibees are relatively see-through, so it's kind of cool because you can see the food being ingested and then collecting in the stomach and then passing through them. So yeah, I try and provide as much for them. I have them on, I feed them, if we ever go out on plankton tows, I'll feed them whatever we catch there. So, a lot of food diversity.
Yeah, very cool.
It's
I
really-
didn't realize. So you go out to get the sponges and things. That's scuba diving.
Yes, while scuba diving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
It's really neat. I've seen them diving, and I've seen them have like colored either yellow or orange within their bodies. It looks like little constellations. And I wondered what those were.
Yeah, well, they are really pretty. They are white, but also have goldish specks on them. If you shine the light right on them, they're just beautiful, beautiful animals.
Don't forget to dip your brush back into the water here and there. If you feel like there's a lot of drag on your brush,
Drag.
Sorry.
I'm doing dots. Is that or like?
oh, that's okay.
Like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
That's
a
okay?
little stippling.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
that looks great.
Oh, that I guess is
Yeah,
it
it's-
is a food ball. It kind of looks like
Yeah.
a slimy thing of some sort.
I remember talking with a friend and they were, because we were talking about what the correct color is, or what we see nowadays and why the coloration. And they were thinking, like, well, what if in the past there was a pink Doric? What if that was the norm? And all we're
That's right.
saying-
Or we just haven't discovered it yet, right?
Yeah, what's
Haven't seen it yet.
to stop it?
Yeah.
The color exists out there. It was actually incredibly hard to find a pink that would match a Hopkins. It's just incredible how
Yeah.
like, vivid these nudibranchs are out in the wild, and what I have to do to match a fraction of their colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nudibranchs are cold water and warm water, or tropical, so you can find them almost anywhere. I don't know if there are freshwater nudibranchs. Unsure,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
very diverse.
that's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wondered.
Now are most of them like toxic? Like is that because often animals with bright colors are warning other animals that they are toxic? Is that something like who are their predators?
So, Nicholas, feel free to chime in. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
wanna, you're more than welcome to.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I do have one.
Okay.
So for the opalescents, from what I remember, the reason they have like those white tips is they're putting it's actually its stomach that's up on top of there on the little spikes, and those white tips are them ready to fire off as the little toxins if they ever get eaten. But from what I remember is people were saying, oh yeah, the coloration they give off is like, please don't eat me.
Yeah.
I'm very toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember that some of them like eat either anemones or other animals that have like nematocysts, and then they can integrate that into themselves. Is that?
Oh, that's really
Christy's
cool.
nodding, yeah. Is that
Yeah. So actually, on the opalescents, we get them on exhibit just opportunistically in
Yeah.
the raw water that come
Oh, cool.
into the aquarium,
Yeah.
and sometimes I want to move them out of the way so I don't brush over them or injure them. And I've seen their nematocysts stuck to my glove, my dive
Whoa.
glove, after touching them.
Yeah.
So some of them do definitely have that capability.
Yeah.
And
So
then
what-
there's the melodies that smell like watermelon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what Christy's saying is the aquarium has a large pipe system that brings in raw seawater from out in the bay, and that sometimes little things come in with it. Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have two pipes essentially. Well, bringing in raw water, and then it splits. So half of it gets filtered, all cleaned, nice, and then the other half is just raw water. Everything that comes in. So the silt, any zooplankton, phytoplankton, and so with that comes sometimes nudibranchs. We get nudibranchs and scallops and mussels and barnacles in our exhibits and pipes all the time.
Okay, and then you said you're working on culturing these two. Is that right?
Yes, it's a constant ongoing
Yeah.
when I have time project. But yes, I'm trying to culture. You can actually see nudibranch eggs at the where the camera is in the jelly gallery. Tiny drifters.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Oh,
I
really?
sometimes put the eggs over there for people to see them, watch them develop. It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
We have a question in the chat.
Yeah.
What role do nudibranchs play in an ocean ecosystem?
That's a really good one.
Well,
They just hang out.
I guess it depends on what stage in their life cycle. So when they're newly hatched, they're little zooplankton floating around, so they could definitely be food for various animals.
Yeah.
As an adult, like the Navinax, which is also a sea slug, eats nudibranchs. They probably control the hydroid and sponge population. Everything's all intertwined.
Yeah.
Based off of their diets, keeping certain encrusting organisms in control.
Yeah. Since I'm always finding them on the ground or the kind of like where the other scavengers are, I wonder if they're eating kind of leftover stuff as well. Like they're helping out with cleaning out the bottom of the ocean floor, like the other ones. I always wondered that. And what would they eat if the other scavengers aren't eating the hydroids?
All right. Does anybody want to?
We all did a base coat. Nice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, does anybody else want to show theirs? Mine's been here, but if anybody wants to slide theirs over here and show the progress they've made, there's Nicholas's.
Yeah. So you can see that you can easily add a bunch of paint, but I built the models to be friendly in a way that you're never going to lose the detail. You don't have to be an advanced painter or anything. It's just applying an even coat across, and you're still going to get everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Christy, how's yours going?
Mine is all white. I just put a base layer of white on it. Very similar to what it was.
It's going to make that orange pop later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to say, like, the level of detail on these is impressive. I mean, the texture on all of these little bits, and earlier you said you chose nudibranchs because you thought they'd be easy. They're just sort of like
yeah, and then 40 hours in, I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah.
I feel like I'm learning something about your personality.
So some of them, like this one with the Commodores, I thought would be easy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's no texture, you put it on after. But then I see them stretch and ball up, and like I have to put the wrinkles in. So you see like some sort of folding and skin on for that right there. And then I wanted in every single one, I like to try to do movement. So it's kind of like curious, it's seeking the food. You have the mouth opening here and oral tentacles. And then I also wanted to put wave action on the gill circlet here. I always find nudibranchs in the weirdest spots when I'm diving. They're always like in the sometimes they're in the surgiest spots. I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
They just kind of, so it's cool to see them dance in the surge.
Dance in the surge.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Are those in there like the size that you would see when you're diving, or are your models a little bigger?
Some of them are a little bigger. Like I've never seen a sandalwood dort of this size. Usually they are like the size of a dime, or even a little bigger. But this would be giant.
A dime? Really? Oh, that's small.
Yeah, some of them are really tiny. So when we're tide pooling, we like flip over like a piece of kelp, and we're like, oh,
they're just,
there it is.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then for clown dorts, I've seen ones 2 times the size. I've seen ones half the size. I don't fully know like how some of them get so big or what causes them to get so big, but I always try to do a 73 millimeter kind of range for every one. But also I'm limited by my build plate when I'm printing, so I always try to do a certain size. Like if I tried to print a sea hair, I think I'd be there forever.
Yeah.
We have a couple more questions. Christy, do nudibranchs eat plankton or coral?
Plankton, yes, they do eat plankton. Again, the Melody, the lion's mane nudibranch, eat plankton. And coral, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think that they have the mouth structure to actually eat the coral, the calcareous part of the coral. Maybe like I can't answer that 100%. I don't really know. But that'd be fun to look up.
What about the nudibranch life cycle? Can you tell us about?
I can't. And again, Nicholas, feel free to chime in.
Actually, I would love to hear more about that because I've only ever seen them in this. I only know what I see when I'm diving out there.
For sure.
So I'd love to know more about your world.
Okay. Yeah. So the life cycle. Nudibranchs are hermaphroditic, so they have both male and female parts, both gonads. And what happens is they can't fertilize themselves, but they fertilize each other. They do some sort of little dance to court the other nudibranch, and then there'll be fertilization, and they go off and lay the eggs, generally in a white ribbon. So if you're ever scuba diving or tide pooling or out, and you see a little tiny ribbon of white, very likely that there's a nudibranch nearby laying eggs. And inside each each egg, and again it depends on the nudibranch, could potentially be 1 to 5 larvae in one egg.
Wow.
So when they hatch, there could be thousands of little nudibranchs hatching. And when they hatch, they're planktonic, so they're floating around in the water column. They've got their little shells, and they're slowly growing, and generally there's a cue that they need to settle out. So they go from their planktonic form, they receive a cue, either it's a food source or other nudibranchs are around, and they say, oh, okay, it's time to become an adult. And they'll lose their shell, and they'll settle down onto the food source so that they can instantly start eating. And when they settle out, they're miniature versions of the adult, and they just start growing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, thanks for bringing up ribbons, because I've seen a lot of those. I've seen like white spaghetti-looking ones by the tube. That must be the one you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
And then I've seen yellow ones. I know those are from the sea hares.
Yes.
Because they love congregating. And then I've seen different colored ribbons. They really do look like ribbons. It's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you ever find the melibes on the kelp blades, on the underside are generally where they lay. They're like cone-shaped eggs.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see those for sure.
I'll look for that.
Yeah.
Any idea what an average lifespan is? How long does it?
I have no idea.
These are good questions.
When I am successful in actually culturing them,
Yeah.
I can get back to you.
Perfect. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Okay. We because we collect our nudibranchs from the wild, we don't actually know how
Right.
old they are.
Yeah.
So they generally last a couple months on exhibit. I think around 8 months or so, 9 months, something like that.
Yeah. But, I mean, I wouldn't imagine that they have a very long lifespan, so that makes
Yeah.
sense. Just very cool.
Yeah.
Would you like more questions from the chat?
Sure.
Keep them coming.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Are nudibranchs at all related to any other species you might typically see in an aquarium?
Are they related to other species that we would see in an aquarium?
Yes.
They're gastropods.
Gastropods.
Yes. I feel bad answering. I'm trying to give time.
No,
but-
please go for it.
You're
I'm
the
always
expert.
I'm always thinking to myself like I think I know this, but probably like half the answer.
That's fair.
I'm like
Jeopardy style. You gotta get in.
Yeah, I'm going through like half my mind book.
Okay.
I think I remember. Yeah, like since they're gastropods, it'd be like other snails that we see, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Other snails, whelks, and even down to mollusks as well, right? Like scallops and mussels are mollusks. They got shells and whatnot. Octopus even. Yeah. Yep. What's another
Nicholas,
question?
could you mention again what kind of paint you're using?
Oh, acrylic. Any acrylic. Yeah.
Can't see that.
Is there a brand?
Oh, they wanted the brand? Yeah.
Can you see?
Vallejo,
Sorry,
Vallejo,
looking
Vallejo.
at it upside down. There you go. All right. Do I move to the second color?
Yeah,
Do
what
it.
second color would you like?
Well, the
What's
silver.
your
I'm
heart?
gonna go
Silver.
with the silver.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Is there a difference between nudibranchs and sea slugs, or are they the same thing?
They are the same thing. I guess common names can lead to a little bit of confusion. But nudibranchs are generally sea slugs.
Okay, I see somebody said that some get into conga lines when mating. And I did actually see in the wild 2 mating, and I was like, what are they doing? Oh, it's pretty.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a special experience.
Whenever I see the sea hares, it looks like a dog pile. It's
Yeah.
kind of all on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the spaghetti eggs
Yeah,
that
yeah,
are just around.
everywhere. Yeah.
Orange, yellow.
Absolutely. What size shoe does the average nudibranch wear?
6.5.
Yeah.
Small feet.
They do stretch their feet pretty well, though.
They do. That's true, actually.
Some of them stretch their feet pretty far. I've seen them try to gap rocks, and then they'll just try to stretch
Really?
the whole body. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like on this model, I finally did get a photo of one from a naturalist. Where actually your clown door has it too. So a lot of chromodors or dorids, I've always wondered where do their feet end when it comes up to their head. And so I've always have to ask the community, I'm like, where do their feet end? And it turns out that they just move this whole part here. And that's a big foot, considering their movement.
And I feel like the California sea hare would have like a size 12 foot. Like it would be
yeah.
bigger than
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Is there anything? Are there any questions, maybe from the chat, about sort of like the Nicholas's process, or if there's anything else you wanted to share? You kind of ran through it really quickly.
Oh,
but,
I'm sorry. Yeah. Is
I
there
don't
anyone
know
out
if
there
there's
interested
in the
3D?
That is a world that I am not familiar with, so I think it's fascinating. I guess is there a step in that process that you either like the most, whether it's like the actual 3D modeling on the computer or the printing part, or
I like the I do like the modeling part, but man, bringing something in from a 2D image from references into the real world in your hands is always a undescribable feeling. I think I really like the modeling process, that aha when it comes from a cube to a actual animal shape. And if anyone has any questions about getting into 3D printing or getting into 3D modeling, I'm happy to answer that as well. A lot of the programs I use are free, and I've learned a lot of this stuff from just workshops around town. It's a growing hobby, and I really like everyone kind of sharing what they make. It can range from making cup holders to like all sorts of I think I was thinking about a professional level of this is exhibits. Making like full-on exhibits or showcases for people. Oh, that's a good question. So the one you can do however you want. You can paint them however you'd like them to be. So I painted mine to be blue to match the California blue dorid. And then but the fun about miniature painting is however you want to express yourself. Question.
I am not matching the actual species I'm going for. I think there was. Is there any way you can buy a 3D file of creatures within the aquarium?
We're
was
not
that?
selling any.
We don't have any. Well, what do you offer these experiences?
Yeah.
And then do you also sell the models
Yeah,
too
as
on
like-
your website?
Yeah, I sell the physical models, and I'm looking to making these easier to print on any machine. And when I get to that point, I'll be selling digital models as well.
The files, so
Yeah,
that people
so-
can. Gotcha.
And what's really cool is that I could, if I gave someone a digital file, someone super far from the ocean could still have a piece of it with them.
Yeah.
I think it's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And-
jellyfish model. There you go. You got future requests.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't wait
Somebody
to read
Jellyfish
all of
model.
them.
Do nudibranchs prefer environments near the shore or in the open ocean?
That's a really good question.
I think most of them are benthic.
Yes.
So I don't know how deep they go. If there are some down, further out, but on the ocean seafloor. Obviously, we're all more familiar with the shore-based ones, since
Yeah.
we're seeing them more scuba diving or tide pooling.
But there's also the Atlantic ones, right? The
Oh,
blue
Glaucus.
dragons. Yeah, the Glaucus.
Yeah, the Glaucus is on the
Is-
surface.
Oh, they live on the surface. Yeah.
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 And then you
The-
have I've seen some tide pooling in like the tiniest pool, and then I've also seen like nudibranchs at my maximum dive recreational limit.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
trying to think back to when I'm watching Nautilus if they've ever found nudibranchs.
Oh. Somebody's got another window up googling cool looking nudibranchs. Sorry.
No, so
Sorry, you all can't see that.
I'll turn my mic on. They can't see it, but if you Google Glaucus Atlanticus or the blue Glaucus, it is a nudibranch that lives on the surface of the ocean, and its main prey is actually Portuguese man-o-war.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they eat the stinging cells and stuff,
Yep,
and they
yep,
come into
yep,
their body. Yeah,
yep.
it's super amazing animal. So Glaucus Atlanticus, if you want the scientific name, or the blue Glaucus, or blue sea dragon, are two of its common names.
And to give you an idea, for maximum recreational limit for scuba diving is 130 feet. So you can see them at least that deep.
Christy is crushing it here on her.
The orange really pops.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Alright.
Can we talk more about
Is there anything you think
where
we're missing?
nudibranchs live? Like, are they in tide pools? Are they at open ocean? Are they in the deep sea? Where are they?
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit. Definitely tide pools.
Yeah, definitely tide pools.
A lot of them are benthic. We're unsure how deep they go.
To
they
the
go
bottom.
deep. Emily is saying they're found deep.
Yeah, some
but
of them
then-
discovered by Ambari.
Yeah?
Wow.
Very cool.
Much deeper than recreational diving.
Yeah. But then also there are some species that live at the surface too. So they are found all around. And like we said before, both cold water, tropical.
I'll drop a link in the chat to
There
an
you go.
Ambari video
Oh,
to
yeah.
the giant deep sea nudibranch.
Giant deep sea.
So, Nicholas, can you tell me more about this, the box that can be composted?
Yeah, so I wanted to find out different ways to make sure that my waste of printing actually doesn't just end up in the landfill. And so I wanted to dig more into what does it mean to actually have compostable or biodegradable filament, as some brands say. And I found out that PLA is biodegradable. PLA is polylactic acid. It's it's a main filament you see around, and it's made from starches of like corn and vegetables. However, it's only biodegradable in commercial compost or in certain conditions. So searching further, found like articles of like in Germany recycling plants, and then they talked about biopolymers, things like agave or a cactus, polymers made from cactus, things like that. And they said they were able to create filament from fermentation of sugars from fermentation, so bacteria or food compost. And that's where some of these boxes came from, PHA. It's kind of hard to get. I think only one company sells it, but it's been fun to play around with.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got to put it into my school's garden, which does reach a 30-degree Celsius point for composting. And then it's been 2 semesters, and I actually lost it.
Yeah.
we were like kind of sticking our shovels in there. We're like, it's got to be in here. I just want to find something, and we can't really find it.
Yeah.
And so like in 6 to 10 months, a lot of things made out of complete PHA will degrade to just sugars as well. Yeah, it's been pretty interesting to learn about biopolymers.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
And so I've been further talking with our municipal waste district here in town about like other plastics too. Like how can I be more sustainable in my 3D printing? I could prototype. It doesn't just have to be buying special filament. You could practice creating friendly prints that doesn't require a lot of supports or all these extra wastes. You could also visit makerspaces, who will help you, public makerspaces, which are libraries, which will help you understand what kind of filament you want to put in, or what kind of shape you would like to print. So it helps you with your waste as well. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of ways to be sustainable, and it doesn't have to be what kind of stuff am I putting into my printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if somebody's interested in miniatures or 3D printing, I mean, I'm imagining the setup that you have at your place is fairly involved at this point.
Yeah. It's I've been through so many different types of machines. There's spools all over my dresser.
Yeah.
It's been pretty
How does
fun.
somebody just interested get started? Like, are there, like you said, there's worker spaces that you can...
Maker spaces is a great
Makerspaces.
one. Those are you can find at your local library, or see if your school offers it. It's 3D printing has become so prevalent now. It's almost like I asked someone, "Hey, have you heard of 3D printing?" And they're like, "Yeah, my cousin has it," or like my friend has it. It's almost everywhere. And so you actually don't need a machine. You can go to these community spaces and learn with them. And yes, you don't need a machine in a different way as well. We have scanning nowadays. If you have the newest phone or some sort of new phone, a lot of phones don't advertise it, but they come with photogrammetry or scanning. If you scan a clay sculpture or something you made, you can actually make a 3D model of it, and then go to a makerspace. So there's lots of different. I think what's the most fascinating part about 3D is how malleable files are. How I can create something from all sorts of different medias. Yeah. And I really enjoy that because a lot of people learn differently, and they don't. You don't have to. There's not one way to do something. There's all these different ways. Yeah.
Awesome. Let us know if there's any more questions in the chat.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions on compostable 3D printing. What are any drawbacks? Or I would also like to add, what are the things you like more about compostable 3D printing? And if you have any tips for learning the softwares for 3D printing.
Yeah. Let's go with the first one. So for compostable 3D printing filament, the drawback would be mainly details. Sometimes when I print something with a lot of sharp details, it kind of comes out fuzzy, or it doesn't print at all. Sometimes, and also a lot of settings for printers aren't made for PHA yet, because it's still rather new to the market, that you'll need to kind of talk to a community and pioneer on your own. So there's a little bit more work involved with printing PHA versus PLA, but it sounds like you just need time involved. It's not such a big drawback. And learning SolidWorks or AutoCAD, that's a great one, because I'm in that stage as well. Look to your local community college. Believe it or not, a lot of engineering departments, or even some makerspaces, will have that kind of stuff for you. I go to the community college here in town, and a lot of stuff was provided for me when I first started, and it definitely made things feel less daunting to start, because I had guidance with my classmates as a community and a teacher that was incredibly supportive. And especially something like SolidWorks or AutoCAD, I wish you the best. That is such a cool program.
We are coming to an hour.
All right. We are getting close to the end. I was gonna add 2 tiny little pink dots on mine, but how's everybody else doing?
We're
You
too
wanna
hard.
show off for work?
We're too hard on the base coat. I'll go ahead and start stippling on the other ones.
Okay.
Did you want to add like a 2-tone shape to your pink?
Ooh.
Yeah. Is there a secondary base color you want to try?
I don't know.
All pink is good. All pink is good. Up to you. That's good.
How's it going over there, Christy?
It's going good. I'm trying to add a little bit of yellow, but then it was too distinct between the yellow and orange, so then I made like a yellow-orange.
Yep.
And now,
And now
I'm trying to blend it.
Yeah.
But then I went too high, so I want the tips orange again.
Yeah.
I'm just chasing. That's fun.
Yeah.
Somebody is commenting that they appreciate your focus right now.
My focus.
And that they would be the same.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm listening. It's fun to do
All right.
things with the hands.
How about we? Can I ask you both maybe if to share your like favorite nudibranch fact if it hasn't already been shared while you put on your last details before we're gonna reveal them all one more time.
Yeah, I actually have one, and it's this one I'm holding in my hand. These California blue dory, or Felomar californius, disappeared for a little bit off of California. All of them were not found in the late 1900s, and I think 2003 or so, they came back. So they're just gone.
Where'd they go?
Yeah, where'd they go? They were gone, and then they just came back, and you can. It's just really funny to see that, and then they're in numbers like when you're typing or diving. It's
Yeah.
just gone and back.
Interesting.
And it makes me think about the nudibranchs we see here every year. It
Yeah.
changed. I sometimes think, oh, I haven't seen clowns in a while, and then next year, oh, there's condors everywhere.
Yeah.
Or the sea hares we're seeing now. I haven't seen sea hares since 2017,
Yeah.
and then now they're everywhere. Yeah.
Super cool.
But to be gone for 20
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm just wondering, Christy, if you have any sense of this from working with them, like are they fairly sensitive to temperature or any other like water parameters, or are they pretty hardy?
I am sure that they're sensitive to temperature for sure.
Yeah.
But as far as most animals have the ability to have like a temperature range.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see as the warming temperatures continue, what animals are going to come from the south up north, and who's going to be pushed north, and how that's going to change.
All right.
You want
Do you want to share yours?
Sure.
And do you have any other favorite facts or
Gorgeous.
experiences working with them or diving?
I think the barber slug or rainbow nudibranch, the Dendronotus iris.
Cool.
They're so cool. I like that their only diet item is the tentacles of the tube anemone, which is why they're also called the barber slug and nudibranch, because they only eat the tentacles. They give a little haircut, and come out and move on to the next tube anemone. And if you Google them eating, it's pretty dramatic, because they'll go up, they'll kind of arch their back, and then put their head right in the tentacles, and the tube anemone will slurp right down into their tube to protect themselves, but that brings in the nudibranch as well, so it's very dramatic. It all goes in at the same time. And then he has his little buffet and then comes back out. So.
And does the anemone survive? Like,
Oh, yeah.
It just has a haircut.
Yep,
Wow.
just gives a little haircut.
Yes. That's fascinating.
I had no idea they survived. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I
Cool.
did an exceptional job over here. This is
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's a fun one. This is a crowd favorite just because it's like a coloring book. They just fill in all the dots. It's
I
wonderful.
do like it.
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for joining us. This was super fun. Nicholas, thank you for sharing all of this
course.
with us. Reefrenders.com if anybody wants to learn more about what you do.
Thank you.
And right,
Yeah.
is that where you're
That
at?
is
That's
it. Reefrenders.com and my Instagram at Reefrenders. Absolutely. Thank you for the
Perfect.
plug.
So if you want to learn more about what Nicholas is doing and check out stuff, that's where you can find him. And Christy, thank you once again for sharing all the awesome work that you do with our animals with us. Super fascinating.
Thanks for having me back.
Yes. Thank you all out there on the internet for joining us. Always a good time. I hope you learned something, got inspired, and yeah, we will see you next time. Bye all. Thank you.